Ghetto people and narcissism. What is the correlation? Well, I think it does exist, and I think there are studies to prove it. I will show said studies in next video. But I wanted to talk about ghetto people and why they may develop narcissistic traits or just become full-blown narcissists. And I think the answer is not as simple as a lot of people think. Now, a lot of people hate ghetto people. Most people hate ghetto people. No one likes it. It's loud, it's rowdy, it's obnoxious, it's disrespectful. Most of them are, this or that. That's how it's perceived. Anyways. And I wanted to talk about the truth of that. And, maybe you could see the ghetto person's perspective or understand why they would be the way they are. So, first of all, let's just start in the household. Let's imagine you're a child developing, someone who would later develop into a narcissist. You're a child, and you're in a big ghetto family. Let's say you live in, New York or something, in a bad part. And, well, let's start with your first challenges. First of all, when you're in the ghetto, you don't have a lot of money, obviously, well, most of the time, and therefore your basic needs aren't being met. Water, probably is kind of hard to get, and if you do get it, it's probably salty and weird. Nutrition probably consists of a lot of EBT-style dietary choices, like instant hamburgers, McDonald's, stuff like that. So, and a lot of ramen noodles. Ghetto people love ramen noodles. So understand that there is a direct correlation between mental health and food. So just right off the bat, basic needs not being met and poor diet, that can fuck with the head. But then we get even further into that. Because their basic needs are not being met and because of the other, various issues, there's a lot of resentment in the house. There's a lot of hostility. There's probably a lot of lack of trust. So all of that combined already just creates a terrible environment where you have to defend yourself constantly, be on the prowl constantly. Basic needs are treated like luxuries. That is horrible for your mental health. That right there, wow. So yes, a lot of kids in these situations, what ends up happening is as they go through adolescence and as they go through early adulthood, they adapt to this environment, in their minds, they're like, well, I don't have a lot of, I may not have a good food, I may not have good shelter, I may not have a very good family, but you know what I can get? I can get girls. I can have sex. I can drink. I can do this illegal shocking activity that'll make you pay attention to me. I can have these powers that are underground and alternative, but I lack the basic needs that everyone else gets. So understand, over time, this creates a shell of narcissism to where they think they're the best and they think they're awesome. Because, let's be honest, ghetto children are generally unchecked on. They're unsupervised most of the time, okay? Because the parent is working or some other reason. So, with that in mind, the child's delusions are not checked. And by the time they are usually 18, 19, 20, they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. They think having sex with a million women is like a prize. They think they're cool for it. They get tattoos on their throat and their face, and they're like, look at me, I'm such a cool tattoo person. And they're really not a very cool tattoo person. They're really just a sad person expressing themselves. And, there's also not a lot of self-reflection in ghetto people because of these shields. So that is what, and when you have, a neighborhood full of people exactly like this, well, then you're going to have groups of unruly people that are ghetto that make people think ghetto people are bad. But truth be told, it's really all just a defense mechanism. Really, it is. And, you can't blame ghetto living situations on everything, Plenty of people who are, maybe extremely poor, maybe living in an extremely bad place, maybe they have a horrible criminal record, maybe they happen to be, darker skinned, toned, like African American or Native American or something. I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. That was an inappropriate time to do so. But my point was, regardless of if you had this stereotypically, down and out, welfare, utilizing person, I guarantee you their annoying traits, if they were a billionaire, their annoying traits would still persist. It wouldn't change. I mean, maybe a lot. It would change a lot in, like, a superficial way, but deep down, the core element would still be there. So all in all, it's just silly to hate ghetto people. If you don't like them, just avoid them. And just understand that there's a reason they act the way they do. There's a reason you have figureheads like 6ix9ine, who, used to be very popular in the New York hip-hop community with real gang members. Because, when you're down and out, maybe your mother's dying, your father's dying, your pets are dying, you have no friends, you hate your life, you have no goals or passions, you get assaulted, raped, or whatever. Well, why not gravitate to the easy figure of power, who, like 6ix9ine, who has all of this, sex and money and power and all these superficial entities that bring a lot of respect. They think it brings respect. It doesn't. To anyone who is not in that situation, it looks morbidly pathetic, but yeah. Overall, point is, just don't judge a book by its cover and understand the reason stuff happens. Well, it may be for a reason.